Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Oh, my name's Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thanks for joining me for Flosstube 115, I believe. It's Friday morning. It's been a week. And yeah, I have a bunch of stuff to show you. I'm kind of excited. I have a couple fully finished objects. I have some more progress on some of my cross-stitch whips, and I have progress on my mixed media piece. So I will show you those experiments with acrylic gel medium. Exciting. I don't think I have any haul or acquisitions this week. And I'll tell you why. I should have, but I did not. I'll tell you why at the end. And yeah, so let's talk about this. But before we get to that, I want to welcome my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me on my crafty and artistic adventures. Welcome back to anyone who's been hanging out with me for however long you've been with me. It's been great to get to know you in the comments here on YouTube and also on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, you can find me at Dr_Christy. And that is where I post probably at least once a week, sometimes more than once a week. We'll see. We see how we do. I'm going to try and post more. That's one of my resolutions, one of my goals. Not resolutions, goals. One of my goals is to post more. But this is a channel about embroidery and cross-stitch, other textile crafts, and history and the history of all those things. So if any of that is interesting to you and you're not subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe and stick around. And hit the like and, I don't know, bell. Do you really want alerts when I post? I don't know if you do. You might want alerts when I post. But I am going to try and be more regular so you won't need alerts. But if you do hit like and comment, that sort of sends my videos out and more people can find me and hang out with us. Anyway, yeah, so that's that. I want to thank my patrons. I have a Patreon where I have various tier levels, and I'm going to do a little adjusting this week and kind of figure out what I want, how I want it to go for 2024. I planned on doing that in December, but I didn't have a computer, and so I kind of couldn't plan things. But I want to thank the folks who have stuck with me on Patreon. And I did just release my January Patreon pattern, which I love. I'll show you that in a second. And yeah, so welcome in. All right, let's talk fully finishes. So my fully finishes are in my journal. And those of you who've been with me for the past month know that this journal is where I'm putting my mindful stitching models. So I have 2 mindful stitching models. And by the time you see this, these will be in my shop, either individually or my Etsy shop, either individually or they will be included in the bundle. So if you buy the bundle after today, you'll get all 3 of them and be put on the list for the other ones. Those of you who bought the bundle before today, I have an email list, and I will have already emailed these to you because I'm posting this in the evening, recording it in the morning. I have a meeting and stuff. So February is a heart mandala. And I really like how it turned out. This is the 28-day version because I'll be stitching the 29-day version starting next month because I'm also stitching this as a mindfulness stitch and not just as a model stitch. I'm trying to be more mindful. And I will post a standalone video about these patterns probably this weekend. So I'll kind of go through them, how I stitch them, what they require, those kinds of things then. And I also did March, which is a 4-leaf clover. And again, these, by the time you see this, these will be on Etsy. And I do like finishing them in a journal because there are places to write things. You know, you could put pockets and tucks. You can make it kind of a junk journal, but a stitchy junk journal. So there's that. So those are the 2 that I have now fully finished. They're stitched and fully finished, and they're photographed, and the PDFs are done. They are done, and I just need to post them and mail them out. So that's pretty exciting. That's my fully finished objects. Let's talk about whips, and let's actually look at that one. Because I'm stitching January, because it's January, as my own mindfulness. And I had gotten behind, and I'm not quite caught up, but I'm almost caught up. And and that's where I am. I almost have the whole cuff done, and then I'll move up into the hat part. And what I realized is that the reason I didn't want to work on it is because my flosses were unorganized. Like, because the stitching is so small, I wasn't using a full strand of floss, and so I wasn't stitching because I didn't want to have little flosses flying around. So I floss dropped them all. And I will floss drop my other ones too, but this is only 5. Oh no, they're there. I'm like, this is only 5. There should be 6. So that's all the flosses. These are all DMC. Yeah. So that's where I am with that. Oh, and this is my, if you remember, a couple of years ago, there was a floss drop swap, and I made these creepy baby floss drops. So my friend Tony, okay, so I'm super into vintage stitching, and I ordered a card. So salesmen, like old-timey thread, door-to-door thread salesmen would have cards, like calling cards, basically. And I ordered a really pretty one, and I ended up getting this terrifying baby card. Terrifying baby card. And it became kind of this joke that this baby was haunted. This like trading card was haunted. And anyway, I did a giveaway. I gave it away to someone else. I did take a picture of it. I did scan it. So I do have a copy of it if I want to make cards with it. But my friend Tony, who is the Stubborn Stitcher, she hasn't posted in a long time, but she's amazing. She sent me this creepy baby card. And I thought it would be hilarious to make a floss drop out of it. I bought so many floss drops and nobody wanted them. Because this child is creepy as hell. Look at that face. Look at that face. I find like drawings of like old-timey drawings of babies very creepy. Anyway, I put them on. I made lots of cards. So if anybody wants floss drops, creepy baby floss drops, I have hundreds left. I just use them for my own stuff. But the back has, you know, the brand, space for the brand and space for the color. Nobody wanted them. Oh, but to get back at Tony, I scanned the card, obviously, to make this, and I sent her an 8x10 photo. So she has an 8x10 photo of this terrifying baby. You know, you have different relationships with your friends. Anyway, so here I am. This is where I am. I'm about 4 or 5 days off. But I will catch up this weekend. I am recording my feelings and how I'm feeling and putting them in like for reals. The next daily stitch, I'm doing lots of stitch alongs right now. The next daily stitch I'm doing is my temperature dragon, which is this. And this is a temperature pattern that I also designed. You can find it on my Etsy shop. And I am doing it in my called fors on Atomic Ranch. I still haven't looked up the color. I'm sorry, everybody. But it's Atomic Ranch. It's an Atomic Ranch gray. And it goes like this. So I have almost the jewel done. Now, I stitched this with my mom on most Sundays. So far, every Sunday this year. But I think I do have to skip out on this week. Sorry, Mom. I have to skip out on this week. I'll text you. But I have the jewel. So the way this starts is it starts in the middle of the pattern, which is basically right like there. So 1 is the jewel. And so that's the beginning. I'm almost done with that. I will stitch on it this weekend, even if I'm not stitching with my mom. So that's where I am with that. And this is just the high temperatures of the day. But you could record other things, right? Not everyone cares about the high temperature, and I totally get that. But you could also record like how many books you read. Like if you're a fantasy reader, how many books did you read? Or how many words or how many pages did you read in a day? And that could be a really fun recording. This could also be a mood stitch, by the way. Just saying. And the mood stitches could also be temperature stitches or any other kind of stitch. Like, you just have to assign colors to a quantifiable thing, and you can stitch it with any of these. Just throwing that out there. Not everyone cares about the temperature, and I get that. With climate change, we should care about the temperature, but not everyone does, and that's okay. But you can record other things too. You know, steps a day or ounces of water. I don't know. What do people keep track of? I'm not very good at keeping track of things in general, so I don't know. The nice thing about temperature is that I don't have to keep track. I can just look at a calendar and like see. So that is my second whip, stitchy whip. Let's get some coffee in me. And then the only other thing I worked on this week, but I've been stitching almost every day, which is nice because I was not stitching for a long time. So I seem to have gotten my stitchy bug back, which is really nice. Really, really nice. The third thing I worked on this week is my witch, my Blackwork witch. I love her. I love her so much. When you last saw it, I had the whole bottom done and her foot. Now, I'm not stitching all these lines because the fabric that I'm stitching it on is so fabulous. I'm stitching it on a 16 count Aida that was dyed by my friend Esther of Speedy X Stitcher, who formerly the Danish Stitcher, for Stitchy Lanka's 1,000 subscriber giveaway. And it's pretty fabulous. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff on it. And so here is where I am. I'm doing sort of the bottom of her dress and working my way up. So that's really fun. Here's the page. I love it. Yeah, it's good. It's good. So here I am. And I'm doing this in Color and Cotton Salem. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Which is the perfect color. The perfect color. And it's limited edition. So some lovely, friendly, wonderful people sent me, I have at least one skein, and I think I have a second skein in my P.O. box, but I haven't been able to get to my P.O. box because we've been iced in. So like, I couldn't go over the weekend because it's a package, and that post office isn't open on the weekends. I couldn't go on Monday because it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and the post office was closed on Monday. And so I was going to go on Tuesday. Everything was closed on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. Today is the first day that I'm able to like go out and about. Hold on one sec. I dropped something and I don't want to forget it. There we go. Okay. So anyway, yeah, so I think I have another Salem in my P.O. box. We'll see. But this is where I am. I love it. I'm so excited. I love it. It's good. Alrighty. There is that. Okay, so yeah, that's all my cross stitching. And this might be a short one, friends. This might be a short one, which is good because I have a meeting at 11. It's a Zoom meeting. I don't have to go anywhere. I'm going right in there, but still. All right, this is my cross stitch. So I have been working. Oh, sorry. Back to my snowed in conversation. That's why I haven't sent out the prizes for my birthday giveaway. So my plan is to box them all up this weekend, and get them out on Monday. That's the plan. All right. So as some of you may remember from my birthday month, which is December, I have been working on this mixed media embroidery correspondence course through the Embroiderers Guild of America. And it has 4 different techniques to add mixed media to embroidery pieces to make them look cool. Oh, they're right here. Okay, good. And so I've been working through them, and I had gotten through 3 of the 4 pretty early in December. And then I ordered this. No, this. Then I ordered this, and it never showed up. But of course, Amazon doesn't tell you it's not going to show up. It just doesn't show up. And so in a couple weeks, I'm like, that's odd. It didn't show up. So I looked, it's missing. So I had to reorder it anyway. So the moral of the story is that it took me longer to get the stuff for my 4th lesson. And so I just sort of did it this week. So I'll show you what I did. So this is working with gel medium. And gel medium, I have 2 here to show you. I have the soft matte gel, which is like a paste that I can't open, apparently. It's like a paste. I don't even know if you can see that. There we go. Yeah, so it's like a paste, and it dries matte, and it's acrylic. The second one is a gel, and it's glossy. I don't know if you can tell. So it's glossy. So basically, this is acrylic paint without any pigment in it. Is essentially what it is. So they dry clear. This one's glossy. The other one's matte. And there are 2 techniques that I have to do for this. The first one is a gel transfer. And the second one is a coating and embroidery with the medium and incorporating it into a piece. So let's start with the gel medium, the image transfers. I have a couple here that I did. They're flowers. So basically, ooh, they're sticking to each other. Do I have paper? I'll just use the back of this. So here is, this is the matte, and it's a picture of a flower, and you put it on the paper and rub it off the back, soak it in water, rub it off the back. It's too thin. I think I need this to be thicker. So there's one with the matte. Here's one with the shiny, with the glossy. That's a little thicker, and I like it better. Although I think the matte would work fine though. And then here's another with the glossy. So these are all flowers. So here are some that have not been cut out and are still on the paper. That's a glossy, and that's a matte. And then here are the pictures that I'm using. These I just got from, I think they're Getty Images. I got them from a magazine. I don't remember. Online. I got them online. Anyway, but I'm not selling this piece, so this is for personal use, so I'm not concerned about it. So I have those. And the plan is, well, let me talk about the other technique first. The other technique is using the coating to, what does it say? Coating embroidery with gel medium. So basically, you embroider something and then put the gel medium on it, and it preserves it and makes it tougher, and then you can add it onto a project or make earrings out of it or whatever. So if you remember, I've been collecting vintage fabric and vintage stitching, vintage fabric, vintage napkins, stuff like that. And I got this baby pillowcase, which I will never use. So I use this to test the embroidery because it has embroidery on it. So here's this one just covered in embroidery. Covered in gel medium. And it's good enough. I think you're supposed to also do the back, which I did not do. And that's the glossy. And then here is the matte on this side. For this, I like the glossy much better, I think. There we go. And then this one here is a thinner coat of the glossy. So, this isn't exciting, but you know, you do what you got to do. So let's talk about what I'm planning to do with this technique. Now, those of you who are new have not seen this, but those of you who have been around have seen it, so I'm going to show it again. My 3 techniques that I've learned thus far are making fabric out of orts. So we have that. Using Tyvek and heat to make interesting shapes. And then using Angelina, I think it's called Angelina material to make sparkly things. So, oh, hold one second, I gotta get one thing. The other thing too with the Angelina fibers is they also have sheets that you hit them with heat. Let's see, there we go. And they bubble up and are iridescent. So that to me looks like a bug wing. So let's talk about plans. Let's talk plans. I have to just sort of like lay this on my chest so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so my background of this mixed media project will be, let me push you down a little bit. There we go. Will be this navy. It's a navy linen. It's a very nice linen, actually. This is going to be a sunset. This is going to be like a flower field, basically. Did I lose anything? No, I didn't lose anything important. This is going to be a flower field, so it looks like that. And then the plan is that these are like the front grasses in the flower field. And, you know, they need to be like organized better. But essentially, oops, sorry. This is a very unattractive view of me, and I apologize for that, but needs must. So this is kind of what it's going to look like. So the plan is to take these flowers and like stick them in some way. Maybe on top. Oops, that's upside down. Maybe on top like that. Maybe behind so they're peeking. I don't know. I don't know yet what I'm going to do with that. But I do have to also include, so I have to include some glossy, some matte of transfers. And then I have to include a piece of embroidery that is covered in this gel medium. So a long time ago, when I was sort of experimenting with embroidery at the beginning, I made this dragonfly, which is very hard to show you because it's on gauze, this dragonfly. And I was thinking of having a giant dragonfly in the foreground. So covering him up with the glossy gel medium, I think, and adding him. Because he's just been sitting in my finished object box. Like, I haven't done anything with him, and I don't know what I should do with him. Because you don't want to frame him, because the point is like the gauziness. Like, if you're framing him, the point's the gauziness. And if you put him in a frame, unless, yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know what to do with him. So I feel like if I cover him in gel medium and stitch him to this, if I don't like it stitched to this, I can unstitch him to this and make him into like a brooch or something. But he could look really cool on this. And then I was thinking of covering his wings with the iridescent stuff, but the white iridescent stuff. So that is my plan. And that, oh, and that along with, the other thing I have to do is I have to put another Tyvek thing. And I'm going to do like a mountain right here. Because I don't love what happened with these colors here. So I'm going to cover them up with a Tyvek, a gray sort of Tyvek maybe a very dark gray Tyvek mountain that I'm gonna paint with acrylic paint. So anyway, that is where my mixed media piece is going, and I'm really pleased with it. Really, really pleased with it. Really pleased with it. I do think that I'm going to use the this Ort fabric situation in mixed media pieces. I think that could be very cool. I'm also going to embroider like on top of this sort of like French knots and lazy daisies and like put flowers in it so it looks like more like a flower field. But I just really love this technique a lot. It was not easy. It was not easy. Yeah, so that is my, that's my my stitching and my crafting and such for the week. I also built a table. Oh, here, you're very low. I also built a table. So my office / sewing room is next door now. It is next. It's not going to be anymore. It now is. And I had an old door that I wanted to turn into a table. And so I bought a cheap, relatively cheap standing desk, electronic standing sitting desk base. And so I attached it to the table this past week. I think I did that this past week. Last weekend, maybe? Maybe not. I think I did though. Anyway, it's attached now. It has some plexi on it. I couldn't get plexi to cover the whole thing. My Lowe's was out, even though they said they weren't. So I have sort of individual plexi panels, which is good, but it has a place for sewing, cutting and ironing, and filming and photographing, which is really nice because that saves up a lot of space in here. And my work table, like my main work table, had a sewing machine and an iron on it. And now I have the whole table. So much room for activities. I love it. That's the other thing that I did that sort of, I don't know, matters, I guess. Yeah, so that's all my stitching, no haul. Let me just give you some life updates. A couple things. Number one, my campus was closed all week. We had no classes this week. As I mentioned, I couldn't get to the post office. We got an ice storm, ice and snow, on Monday evening, and we are not prepared. Like, we don't have the infrastructure for ice and snow. And we usually just wait for it to melt, and it usually does. Like, we don't stay below freezing very often. We dip below freezing sometimes at night. Often we do not. It's actually, we have been more lately. This winter's been very cold for us. But in general, we stay above freezing. Our pipes are on the outside of our house and are uninsulated. Like, we're not built for cold. I live in Mississippi, for those of you who are new. So it got below freezing, and it did not get above freezing until yesterday. So all of the ice would sort of like melt a bit in the sun and then refreeze into a nice, shiny, slippery ice sheet. There were a lot of accidents. And so my university just closed because we have a lot of commuters, and we just, sort of went online. I went half online, like for my Tuesday, Thursday class. My Monday, Wednesday class, they already had off on Monday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. My Tuesday, Thursday class, I gave them a snow day on Tuesday because I'm a child of the 90s. There is something magical about snow days that this whole online learning thing has destroyed. So I gave my students the magic of a snow day, but I did tell them that if for some reason, which I was not expecting, we didn't have class on Thursday, they would have online work. We didn't have class on Thursday. So yeah, I had no classes, but I had to put everything online, which actually does take quite a lot of work. So that happened. And then today we're actually pretty good, but I think in the country, so we're very rural. I mean, I live in town, but like right around us is all rural. And I'm sure in the country, the roads were very bad. So Mississippi cannot handle this. We don't have plows. I think there's one plow in the state. I don't know that I have a snow shovel. I don't know that I have an ice scraper to scrape my car. Like, we just don't have them. So yeah, that's been an interesting week. I am going out and about today, like I said, for the first time since Saturday. Yeah. The other thing that happened, so last week I announced the new name of my university, Mississippi Brightwell University. We're currently Mississippi University for Women, but we have been co-ed for 40 years. 1982 was when we went co-ed, and it was a Supreme Court decision. So it was taken all the way to the Supreme Court, and we are the first publicly funded women's institution in the country in 1884. And so, but we also had the best nursing program in the state. And a man wanted to be a nursing student, and they would not let him in. And because of Title IX, it went to the Supreme Court, and we went co-ed, which I think is great, because which I think is actually really good for the longevity of the university too, because like single-sex schools, higher education schools are closing left and right. So it probably saved us. But anyway, so we're changing our name, Mississippi Brightwell University, except that now we're not. So I have no idea what the name of my university will be in 6 months. I'm not even lying. 6 months. Like, we're supposed to change our university name July 1st. 6 months. So, like, there was an uproar from the alumni. Because we're getting rid of the W. We were called the W. And there was an uproar online. And they backtracked. And they're blaming the consulting firm they hired, that they paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to. They're blaming everybody. They're not taking responsibility. It was the whole thing was super secretive. The name Mississippi Brightwell was not on any of the surveys, any of the discussions. It was a made up name by the consulting firm. I mean, it's super corporate. It's all corporate. But of course, our upper admin is all corporate. Our president and provost are both business people. They're academic business people, but our president was the CFO. She was our accountant for years. She's also an alum. But like, they're business people. So it's all very corporate. So there's an uproar. And then I just found out that there was so part of the problem was the lack of transparency in this process, right? As faculty, we had no information. I sort of got information from back channels, but there was no real information. So they're no longer Mississippi Brightwell, and there was a super secret meeting with alumni like yesterday, 2 days ago. 50 alumni were there. No faculty were invited. No staff were invited. No students were invited. I mean, we do have a task force, and apparently the task force was there, but the task force helped pick this name. So like, I'm really concerned. Let's just say I have no more faith. I don't have faith in the people making these decisions anymore. And I was already losing faith, but it's so secret squirrel. And something like this can't be secret squirrel, and they won't realize that. Like, they're not learning the lessons that they should be learning. The lessons they should be learning are be more transparent, not pivot constantly, not just sort of like, anyway. So I don't know what the name of my university will be in 6 months. It won't be Mississippi Brightwell. They want to keep the W. And apparently no one cares what faculty, staff, or students think about it. It's all alumni and administration. But the funny thing, this is my own little, sorry, I'm on a rant. You've got me on a rant. Sorry about that. But the issue I have, though, is that if all these people who were so upset about the name change came to sporting events, came to cultural events that we host on campus, invited us into their events, donated money, whatever, we wouldn't be in this situation. Like, we're in this situation because we have no support. Like, I'm doing two people's jobs for half a person's job's money, and there's no support. So now the people who have to, who are immediately impacted and have to implement all these changes, now we're thrown back into uncertainty. No idea. So that's fun. I believe that my mood that I will stitch this evening is angry and annoyed, in case you're wondering how that all is going to feel. All right, friends. I have to get to a meeting, so I will see you later. Yes, we have no class. The university's closed, but I still have a meeting. And I'll keep you posted on all the name stuff. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Does anyone ever really trust their bosses and feel like they're doing what they should be doing? I think it's pretty universal. So whatever, I'll get over it. But I'm very annoyed, angry and annoyed. That's my color, my color in my hat for the day. Okay, I gotta go. I really have to go. I'll talk to you later, hopefully next Friday. Oh no, hopefully this weekend for a more in-depth look at the mood stitching patterns. And if you're not interested in that, I'll see you next Friday for my next Flosstube. And I have some tutorial things that I think are going to come up, so keep an eye out for that. All right, have a good day, have a good weekend. I will talk to you later. Please take good care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.